In some ways, it started with me and Diana in our show getting interviewed by Scott Van Pelt, and Diana having, her response, which if you go back and watch it, and I don't mean to split hairs here, Diana has been so complimentary of Caitlin since, which to me just really speaks to the issue, which is at times people have been negative towards some of these rookies, right? What you see in men's sports at times, and I'll use examples like Dylan Brooks and Draymond Green, and it's not to call them out in any specific way other than they've had moments with players. And yet when they do something, it's not the entire league hates the player.
Sue Bird just dropped a bombshell on her podcast, and WNBA fans are losing it. She's saying Caitlin Clark isn't getting special treatment? Come on, Sue. We've all seen the games. Those forearm shivers and aggressive fouls aren't just normal basketball plays. What's really going on here? Let's talk about Sue Bird for a second. She's not just any player. She's a WNBA legend, multiple championships, Olympic gold medals, you name it. When Sue talks, people listen. But this time, fans aren't buying it. Here's the deal. Sue's saying one thing, but our eyes are telling us something else.
But it is just another moment where things get taken onto social media and they just grow and people spew and it turns into something that you can't even recognize within 24 hours. They have been critical from a basketball standpoint. And yet those statements have been just blanket statements on how an entire group of people feel. It led to the Twitter trolls and bots taking over. And what started there was this narrative of petty, jealous players hating on Caitlin. Mm-hmm. I cannot stress enough how insulting that is. That is probably potentially the biggest insult you could throw at an athlete.
We're seeing Caitlin Clark getting roughed up on the court and Sue's acting like it's no big deal. You know what's crazy? This isn't just about one player. It's about the whole WNBA. Imagine this. If the league lets this aggressive play slide, what does that mean for Caitlin's career? And what about the WNBA's reputation? This could change everything. Are we watching the future of women's basketball unfold, or are we seeing it get knocked down before it can take off? Forget about the future for a second. Let's talk about what's happening right now on the court. Caitlin Clark's treatment isn't just raising eyebrows, it's causing outrage among fans. But here's the kicker. Some WNBA legends are claiming it's no big deal. What's really going on, and who's telling the truth? You've seen the games, right? Caitlin Clark isn't just facing tough defense. She's dodging moves that look more like WWE highlights than basketball plays. We're talking forearm shivers, hard fouls, and even a clothesline move. Angel Reese straight up clotheslined Clark in one game. And Kennedy Carter? She hit Clark with a forearm shiver that had everyone talking. This isn't your average physical play.
We as WNBA players were having basketball conversations, and everybody just took it to another place where we were attacking them as people. Mm-hmm. That's really what happened. That's where it started, that we must just dislike her, that we look at her side-eyed, that we don't want her to come in the WNBA and be successful, that we're hating on her. And college basketball is a very tricky evaluator of talent. There have been players that have had amazing college careers only to get to the WNBA as top picks and struggle. When people were up in arms about Caitlin getting picked up full court, and we talked about this early in one of our podcasts, it was like, well, yeah, you have to. If you don't, she's going to drop 35 on you. Yeah. It's called smart defense.
Fans are furious, and for good reason. They're watching their new favorite player get roughed up game after game. It's not just affecting Clark's performance. It's changing how people watch the game. Imagine tuning in to see some great basketball and instead getting a front row seat to what looks like a street fight. But here's where it gets wild. Some people are trying to say this is just part of the game. Really? Since when did basketball turn into a contact sport? Fans aren't buying it. They're seeing Clark get targeted, and they're calling it out. One commentator put it perfectly. What started there was this narrative of petty, jealous players hating on Caitlin. That's the heart of the issue. It's not just about rough play anymore. It's about how players are treating the league's rising star. So, what's the deal? Are we watching the birth of a new WNBA superstar, or are we seeing players try to shut her down before she can take off? The aggressive play isn't just hurting Clark, it's hurting the whole league. Fans want to see great basketball, not playground bullying tactics.
Then, when the season started and people saw people blocking Caitlin's shot or picking her up full court, it then became, oh, they're targeting her. Oh, they're trying to hurt her.
Exactly.
This is basketball.
Yeah.
But again, what happened was all of these narratives got birthed through Twitter trolls. And I will shout out Caitlin for making that point. These aren't fans, these are trolls. I did not come out of college with the same amount of fanfare as Caitlin. I did not come out of college with the same level of popularity, scrutiny, all of it. Nobody has.
And let's be real for a second. If this keeps up, what does it mean for Clark's career? What about other young players coming into the league? Are they going to face the same treatment? This isn't just about one player anymore. It's about the future of the whole WNBA. Just when you thought the Caitlin Clark drama couldn't get any crazier, Sue Bird enters the chat. She's got a hot take that's turning heads and making fans question everything they thought they knew. Is Bird really defending the rough treatment, or is there more to this story? Sue Bird just dropped a bombshell on her podcast, and it's got WNBA fans buzzing. She's not alone in this either. Megan Rapinoe's right there with her. They're saying the whole jealous players hating on Caitlin thing is blown way out of proportion. Wait, what? Here's the deal. Bird's claiming that this narrative of petty jealousy isn't coming from the players. She actually said what started there was this narrative of petty jealous players hating on Caitlin. We didn't cause that narrative, and she's trying to blame fans too here. That's a pretty bold statement, right? But here's where it gets wild. Some people think Bird's not just talking about Clark. She might be trying to save Diana Taurasi's reputation. Remember all that criticism about the league's culture? It's like Bird's trying to sweep it under the rug. Think about it. Bird's a legend in the WNBA. When she talks, people listen. But this time, fans aren't buying it. They've seen the games. They've watched Clark getting roughed up on the court. And now Bird's saying it's no big deal? It's like Bird's playing defense, but not on the court. She's defending the league's image. Some critics are saying she's straight up gaslighting fans. That's a pretty serious accusation.
So the season starts, I watch the games. Not at any point did I think anybody was playing dirty against Caitlin. Not at any point did I think Caitlin was targeted. And the play is physical, which it always is. I watched pretty much every single one of Caitlin's games early on, because I am a fan. I do like good basketball. And of course, I wanted to see how she would do. Something I'll just add to that, since we're on the topic. You know what the issue is in this moment? Here's the issue. As WNBA players, we know the level of competition that's in the WNBA. And we also know the level of competition that's in college.
Is Bird really trying to make fans doubt what they've seen with their own eyes? Here's the thing, if Bird's right and this is all just a big misunderstanding, why are so many fans upset? Why are we seeing all these clips of Clark getting hit with forearm shivers and hard fouls? Something doesn't add up. You've got to wonder why Bird's taking this stance. Is it really about Clark, or is there something bigger going on? Some people think she's trying to protect Taurasi's legacy. After all, Taurasi's been in the spotlight for some not so great reasons lately. While everyone's focused on Bird's comments, there's an elephant in the room that no one's talking about. The WNBA facing a crisis that goes way beyond one player or one incident. Is the league's very future hanging in the balance? Let's talk about the WNBA's image for a second. It's not just about Caitlin Clark anymore. The league's got a serious problem on its hands, and it's time we address it. Fans are starting to see the WNBA in a whole new light, and it's not looking good. Here's the deal. People are saying the WNBA isn't being taken seriously. Why? Because of all this dirty play we're seeing. It's not just physical, it's downright aggressive. And you know what's crazy? Some folks are saying this is why the league's struggling to gain popularity. Think about it.
Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing. Sure. This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. I would almost joke. I'd be like, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. In so many ways, I would have loved to have been valued. We understood that in order to push our league forward, we were going to have to combat these things. And then you know what else we learned? A, it feels good to stand up for yourself.
We're watching these games, and instead of seeing top-notch basketball, we're seeing moves that look like they belong in a wrestling ring. That's not what fans want. They're tuning in for amazing plays and fierce competition, not cheap shots and dirty tricks. But here's where it gets wild. There's this double standard going on. In men's sports, aggressive play is often seen as part of the game, but in the WNBA, it's causing an uproar. People are questioning the league's professionalism. That's a big problem. You want to know what's really at stake here? The WNBA's growth. We've got stars like Caitlin Clark who could take this league to new heights. She's marketable, she's talented, and fans love her. But if she's constantly getting roughed up on the court, what does that mean for her career? What about other young players coming into the league? One fan put it perfectly. The WNBA is an unpopular league because it's a dirty league, not physical dirty that needs to be cleaned up. That's harsh, but it's what people are thinking. And if the WNBA doesn't address this soon, it could spell trouble. So, what's the solution? The WNBA needs to step up. They need to show they're serious about cleaning up the game. That means cracking down on dirty plays, holding players accountable, and making sure the focus stays on great basketball. It's not just about protecting players like Clark, it's about protecting the entire league's reputation. If fans start seeing the WNBA as unprofessional or unsafe, they'll tune out. And that's the last thing women's basketball needs right now. The clock's ticking for the WNBA. They've got to make some big changes, and fast. It's time to show the world that women's basketball is about skill, strategy, and sportsmanship, not cheap shots and dirty plays. All right, let's talk about what's next for the WNBA. The league's got some serious issues to deal with. Aggressive play, veteran players throwing their weight around, and a reputation that's taking a hit. It's time for a change, and fans are demanding it. The WNBA needs to step up its game. We're talking stricter refs, clear rules on player conduct, and real consequences for dirty plays. Fans are sick of seeing their favorite players getting roughed up on the court. They want to see great basketball, not WWE moves. Here's the deal. If the WNBA doesn't clean up its act, it could lose fans fast. And that's bad news for everyone, especially rising stars like Caitlin Clark. The future of women's basketball is on the line. Will the WNBA listen to its fans and make the changes it needs? Only time will tell.